Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, students? I hope that you're all fine. Inshallah, today we are going to continue reading and explaining the ideas of the text, which is on page 58 in your student box. And again, we are in Unit 7. The title of the unit is Literature. And in this lesson, we are talking about Charles Dickens, or we are going to read about Charles Dickens. In the previous lesson or video, we have talked a little about Charles Dickens. We have given some ideas or some information about him. Well, and thank you for those who have sent me more information about Charles Dickens. Then we have explained some meanings. Okay. In this video, inshallah, we are going to read again the text and explain the ideas that we have or we are going to understand. Okay, ladies? No. So this is Charles Dickens. And we have mentioned that he is what? He is a writer and a critic. Critic means what? ناقد. We have mentioned some works for him. And by the way, the works that I mentioned in the previous video that I wanted you to know about or to search about, I meant the writings, not the jobs. Again, I meant by works here اللي هي الأعمال يا أول. Okay, I meant by works what? They are what? Writings. Okay, I meant by works, writings اللي هي الكتابات, not the jobs. Okay, so those who have answered that the works were as a cleric or a writer and so on, no. What works did he do? Or did he achieve, let's say? He has written David Copperfield and what? Oliver Twist, okay? And so on. Okay? And the question that was about what? The other question was, did Charles Dickens did Charles Dickens, yes, have a happy childhood? Actually, he did not have a happy childhood because he lived lonely during his childhood. He didn't want to play with other students, with other children, okay? Now, we are going to read again and then illustrate all the ideas and meanings in the text, inshallah. So please take your pens, okay, and take all the notes one by one. Let's start again. Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens was born on 7th February 1812 in Portsmouth, on the southern coast of England. So, he was born on 7th of February. So, when was Charles Dickens born? When was, okay, Charles Dickens born? When was he born? He was born on 7th of February 1812. What about where was he born? Where? مكان. He was born in Portsmouth, okay, on the southern coast of England. Okay? He was a quiet boy. Now here we're going to talk about his characteristics. Okay? اللي هي عندكم الخاصيات اللي فيه أو let's say يعني كشخصية. Yes? عن شخصيته. He was a quiet boy. So we are going to talk about his personality. Let's say personality. Okay? What was his personality? He was a quiet boy who loved reading. Okay, so he loved reading. Who here refers to who? To Charles Dickens. So who refers to Charles Dickens? It's a relative pronoun that refers to Charles Dickens. He loved, or who loved reading. He loved reading. So when he spoke later of his childhood, he said that he remembered listening to children playing outside as he sat indoors. Okay? So when he started to talk about his childhood, here it shows that he started to talk about his childhood when he was an adult. Okay? He started to speak about his childhood when he was an adult. Because he said that he spoke later of his childhood. Later يعني فيما بعد. Okay? Of his childhood, he said that he remembered listening to children playing outside. So did he go to play with other children outside? No. So this sentence shows that he didn't play with children outside, or he didn't want to play with children outside. As he sat indoors. Indoors, inside the house. Indoors means inside the house. Okay, so this means inside, or inside itself, it's okay. He always preferred reading to playing with other children. He preferred, he wanted more. He wanted reading more than playing. He preferred reading to playing with other children. So did he like, or what did he like more? Reading or playing? Of course he liked reading more than playing with other children. Okay? At age of 12, life for his family changed very suddenly. Here is another change, or there's a change that happened to him and his family at the age of 12. What happened? Now, his father had financial problems, so the change was caused by financial problems. This is the cause of the change. Okay, financial problems. So Charles was no longer able to attend school regularly. For that, Charles Dickens couldn't go. Was not able means what? Couldn't go. Okay, so was not able means could not go or to attend school regularly. Okay, and he had to work at a factory. So because of that financial problem, he could not go or attend school regularly, and so that he went to work on or in a factory. He had to work in a factory. Okay? This is the change that he had when he was 12 years old. First, his father had financial problems, so Charles was no longer able to attend school regularly. 3, he had to work at a factory. Let's number them one by one. Okay, now number 1 is what? His father had financial problems. This is number 1. Number 2, he was no longer able to attend school regularly. And 3, he had to work at a factory. Okay? He had to work at a factory. The loneliness he felt there. There means what? Or refers to what? There here refers to where? Factory. There refers to factory or a factory. Was important or an important influence on his writing, especially in his books Great Expectations and David Copperfield. So what influence? What the meaning of influence? تأثير. Influence means تأثير. Okay? What type of influence or what influenced his writing or his writings? Okay? What the loneliness he felt in or he felt in the factories or in the factory. Okay? So here again the question is what influenced his works or writings. خلينا نحكي his writings. Okay? What's the answer? The loneliness he felt there طبعا اللي هي in a factory was an important influence on his writings. Okay? Especially in his books Great Expectations and David Copperfield. So these are two of his works or of his books or of his writings. What are they? Great Expectations and David Copperfield. And I hope that you have ever heard about them or read about them or even watched the movies of them. Now, this was the change at 12. Let's move to the change that happened when he was 14. When he was 14, Charles stopped going to school altogether. So he stopped going to school at all. Now, in the age of 12, he didn't go regularly. He may go for a day or two, but not all the week, for example. Okay? But when he was 14, he stopped going to school altogether. He stopped going to school at all. And started working as a what? Let's move to the next slide. Yes, as a clerk in a lawyer's office in London. So he stopped going to school and he started to work as a clerk in a lawyer's office in London. So these are the two changes that he had in the age of 14. 1, he stopped going to school. Next, he worked as a clerk in a lawyer's office in London. He didn't like working there. He wasn't happy. This sentence shows that he wasn't happy there. Was he happy as a clerk? No. How do you know that? From this sentence. He didn't like working there. So he wasn't happy. He didn't feel comfortable there. Okay? So what happened? Luckily, things changed for him again. Now, luckily, this means what? That there's something good happened to him. By the word luckily, we mean that there's something good happened to him. Things changed for him again. Charles had always wanted to be a writer. Now he wanted to be a writer, and he became a very respected journalist. Okay, so as he wanted to be a writer, he became a very respected journalist. Okay, his passion in being a writer. Now he always wanted to be a writer. It means what? His passion, his passion. What the meaning of passion? الرغبة. He wanted to be a writer. Okay, that is the result that that's the cause that made him what? A very respected journalist. Because when someone loves a kind of job, he will be creative in it, right? If you are in love with your job, or if you love your job or like your job very well, so you will be creative in it. He began to write short pieces of publication. So he started his writings with what? In the newspaper in 1836, a series of pieces called the Pickwick Papers appeared monthly in the newspaper and were very popular. So he began with what? He began to write short pieces for publication, with meaning publication اللي هو النشر in the newspaper. Short pieces. If you have a newspaper, let's look at, for example, this is a page of a newspaper here. You have the headlines, right? Now, here you can find, for example, a box with a short writing or a short piece of writing. Okay? This is the type of short pieces, let's say, for publication that Charles Dickens began to write. تمام? Now, then in 1836, a series of pieces called the Pickwick Papers. So he wrote, a series of pieces of writings. Okay, so every week he wrote in the same or for the same topic, but just like a series. Series هي سلسلة. And what was the name of that series? The Pickwick Papers. So this is the third work that for Charles Dickens. We have mentioned David Copperfield, Oliver Twist, and this is the third one. And this series appeared monthly in the newspaper and were very popular. What the meaning of popular? Well known, famous. Okay, so popular means famous. Okay? Or well known. Now, Dickens was a famous author by then. Then refers to what? To the time that he started the series of the Pickwick Papers. Okay, then is an adverb, who adverb refers to a certain time. What was the time that he became as a famous author? When he started with what? With the Pickwick Papers. Okay? Now, throughout his life, Dickens enjoyed traveling. He traveled to many countries writing novels and giving talks about the cruelty of slavery. Novels such as Oliver Twist and Dumpy and Son highlighted the cruel treatment of people, especially children, and child labor in the 19th century. So he liked what? He liked traveling. How do you know that he liked traveling? Because they said that he enjoyed traveling. Enjoyed means liked. Okay? He traveled to many countries. So he traveled to many countries. What did he do during his visits or his traveling to the countries? He wrote novels and gave talks. So he traveled to the countries writing novels and giving talks ممكن تكون محاضرات تمام about the cruelty of slavery. Cruelty of slavery. Well, in the past, there was an era for slavery. What make of slavery? عبودية. Okay? Cruelty of slavery. Cruelty اللي هي bad treatment. Very bad treatment of slavery. Cruelty means very bad treatment of slavery. They used to beat the slaves, to slap them, to spit at them, and so on. They used to treat these slaves very badly. Okay? So he wrote novels and gave talks about this cruelty of slavery. Novels such as Oliver Twist and Dumpy and Son. So we have another works here. So we have Oliver Twist, Dumpy and son, and also great expectations, by the way, we have mentioned it at the first. Highlighted. What the meaning of highlighted? Were very, famous. About what? About the cruel treatment of people. So this is cruelty, or this the word, or this cruelty. Let's say this word. Okay, cruelty of slavery is shown here. The meaning is shown here. Here, the cruel treatment of people. Especially children, especially the children, they used to treat the slaves of children, or the children as slaves, okay, very badly. And child labor in the 19th century. Okay, child labor, those children who used to work, okay, at earlier ages in their lives. He also wrote about them. In the 19th century, he died on 8th June 1870 at the age of 58. Okay, so how old was he when he died? He was 58 years. Here we are going to stop now. I have finished with you. Okay, inshallah, in the next video I'm going to answer the comprehension or comprehensive questions, inshallah, with you, and give you the model answers so you can write them down. Thank you, ya Awal, for watching, and be careful for take or pay attention to take all the notes all the time. يعطيكم العافية.